Borky, are you familiar with a 30-year butterfly effect? Sometime in 1994, Nolan Richardson decided that Pat Bradley was the shooting guard that he wanted. Pat Bradley, great guy, good friend, super talented basketball player. He was great at Arkansas. But instead of taking a home state player from Perryville, Arkansas, he went to Boston and got a guy that grew up in the shadow of the Garden, and it worked out great for the Razorbacks. What Nolan Richardson did not know in making that decision, that not taking a kid from Perryville, Arkansas, was going to lead to more losses for the University of Arkansas than he could imagine over the next 30 years. Keith Carter just won again against the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Smoked them.
And this was a big win. It was a big, big win. When we went off the air last night, I had talked to people before the show, talked to people last night, talked to some folks this morning, and my opinion, it was an educated opinion, but all it was a guess. And I talked to some other people that were kind of in the same boat. And the opinion was, I don't know, but it kind of feels like Chris Beard's going to be the next coach at Arkansas. It's really going in that direction. Arkansas, now, this is where the semantics game comes in. Was there an actual offer that was presented? I don't know. But there were numbers that were talked about, and they were big, big numbers. Numbers that would have made Chris Beard somewhere between 5 and 10 nationally in terms of being the highest paid coach in the country. And a commitment for all of the resources that were necessary for that program to win at a really high level. And Chris Beard decided to stay put. He decided to stay at Ole Miss for another year. That means nothing beyond this year, right? I mean, we're in a weird time in college athletics. Predicting the future is an impossible thing. But Ole Miss announced an extension for Chris Beard at the SEC men's basketball tournament. Never released any numbers, which was a little curious because generally speaking, Ole Miss has been pretty forthcoming on salary numbers. And they never really released those. Probably lots of reasons. And whatever those numbers were, they revisited that over the last 24 hours or so. And Ole Miss made a pretty significant commitment. I will say this. Anybody that says Ole Miss is not committed to being successful in men's basketball is out of their minds. Just, you can just look at that person and be like, believe whatever you want to believe, but you're just wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah, they proved it today. And, I mean, every single person that covers Arkansas has said plainly he was offered the job. They thought they had him. He told them no. Now, and if you want to not believe that, you're totally clear. I have some folks in my Twitter mentions that don't. But every person that covers Arkansas is saying he was offered, he told them no. The department's kind of in scramble mode. They thought they had him. So, but there's two things. This is good for two similar but different reasons. On one hand, just from a pure basketball perspective, having Chris Beard coach your basketball team is a good thing, right? You saw, although they tapered off at the end of the year for varying reasons, you saw proof of concept. You saw improvement in year one. You saw what he's capable of. He's got a track record of being an elite-level coach. They've got a couple of good recruits coming in, including a McDonald's All-American, 7-foot-plus guy that has some offensive skill, which is something they need. If you look at who's going to start taking visits in the portal, it looks like the retooling of the roster has begun, and they're in on some high-profile, experienced guys. And he's also a boots-on-the-ground fundraiser. He's not just sitting back in the office and telling somebody else, go raise the money for me. He's out there doing it. So that's a good thing. Obviously, having that running your basketball program is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger picture is more interesting to me because Ole Miss nationally is looked at as a really bad basketball job. If you ask people around the SEC, rank the basketball jobs, Ole Miss is at or near the bottom of every single ranking. They've been to one Sweet 16 ever. Ever. Been to one. And that program was fighting against Arkansas, who's got the history of success.
An Arkansas program that while they took a step back this year and finished 17 and 18, the last 2 years they were in the Elite Eight, and the year before that they were in the Sweet 16.
It's reversed, right? It's Elite Eight, Sweet. It doesn't matter. 2 Elite Eights and a Sweet 16 in the 3 years leading up to this year. So they have the history of success. They have the facilities. They have the massive fan support. They have the brand power. They've got the personal ties with Chris Beard to the state of Arkansas. They've got all of that. And he told Arkansas no. The head basketball coach at Ole Miss was made a lucrative offer by Arkansas, and he told them no. And that means so much for program perception, I think, for Ole Miss. There are going to be people around the country that are going to be like, wait, what? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because a no-brainer decision would be to leave Ole Miss basketball for Arkansas basketball from a 30,000-foot view a few years ago, whatever. But this is now, like you talked about, this is proof that, one, in this era, history doesn't matter. Nobody cares about it. And two, Ole Miss has stepped up to compete nationally in basketball to the point where Arkansas is looked at as not an upgrade by one of the top 10, 15, whatever you want to rank him, coaches in America. And that, to me, is, in a weird way, more interesting than what it will do for the 2024 basketball team. It speaks to internal athletic growth at Ole Miss. National perception changes about the athletic department, who's running it, university support, all of that. It speaks to all of that, and I think that's more significant than just, hey, that you got a good coach to stay with your program.
Yeah. C-Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395. Speaking of butterfly effect, since Richard is working on this Friday, I guess I'll go into work myself. I get another message that says he's waiting for Kentucky. Maybe so.
Maybe, but everybody's waiting for Kentucky.
I think after today, Ole Miss has finally paid back Arkansas for the 2015 football game. Kiffin chose us over them, beat their rear in Omaha, and now kept Beard from them, bury them. I'm cooking a pork butt tonight. Okay. It's on the C-Spire text line.
This one's interesting to me. It says, how did Arkansas and Ole Miss baseball go last night since there was an actual sporting event, you know? Do you know how few people in our audience care about that as opposed to what we led the show with? I mean, you could not possibly have a more contrasting interest between those two topics.
I mean,
with
it's
all due
the same
respect.
guy who is already mad and ready to fire Christian Ostrander and is still mad at me for not asking Kendall about Southern Miss on Tuesday. Okay. What? Somebody said, imagine being an Arkansas fan right now. Sam Pitman is still the head football coach. Eric Musselman is gone. And they took a big swing at Chris Beard at Ole Miss and got beat on that. Man, that's some go outside and kick a tree and yell at the sky stuff.
And everybody that covers the team is still not talking about, I know I'm obsessed over him, but Will Wade, I mean, the candidates that got thrown out there, if Jerome Tang is a no, which we'll see, not exactly inspiring. It's a testament to how important it is to be united and organized, isn't it? Because two things can be true at once. One, people undersell the available finances for Ole Miss. I mean, I was asked this on a show out of state. They were like, well, how is Ole Miss getting all these players? Like, we're just talking about Ole Miss here, was the way the question was framed. And I said, well, we're talking about a major southern university with 30,000 students that has a law school, a medical school, a business school, an accounting school. You don't think that they would have wealthy alumni willing to contribute to win football games when that is basically a religion in this part of the country? What do you mean? How do they have money? You're conflating the overall financial output of the state of Mississippi with alumni of a major southern university. Don't do that. But two, Arkansas should be extremely wealthy considering the volume of boosters and who they have at their financial disposal, being the only program in that entire state that plays high-level sports anyway. It should lead to being wealthy and lucrative. But they're not organized. There's discomfort, there's discontent, there's factions, there's all that stuff. And when we talk about this and people push back on us, we say the same thing every time. Ole Miss is in the spot that they're in largely because of organization. Fans are completely bought in on the concept of NIL. The collective is being run by competent people doing a really good job. The university supports it. The athletic department and Keith Carter, everybody's united and organized into what it takes to win. And that's not the case everywhere. You think that would be the case everywhere. It's not the case everywhere. Mm-mm. That is how they're able to do stuff like this. That's how they're able to get Walter Nolan and Princely Umanmielen in the number one portal class. And that's how they're able to get Chris Beard to say no to Arkansas. And that's how they're able to get Lane Kiffin to say no to Auburn. That's why all of this stuff is happening.
C-Spire text line, why is Arkansas not going after Chris Jans? Not trying to troll, but he's clearly a great coach. He's done a phenomenal job. He's been in Starkville 2 years and has taken him to 2 NCAA tournaments. I don't know. Maybe they will.
I saw him show up on one Arkansas person's new updated hot board, but I mean, they just locked down Josh Hubbert and got a Big Ten transfer that scores almost 20 a game. I mean, they've got a couple of guys that they're in the final two on in the portal. One big man for sure that would be a difference maker. I mean, you know, he's got it pretty good where he's at right now.
C-Spire text line. A lot of your stuff coming in. And let's see here. Thank you for clearing that up, Borky. I had a guy tell me the other day that Ole Miss needs to fire Keith Carter if the baseball team doesn't improve. I was dumbfounded at that comment. Yeah, okay. You left out Chancellor Boyce, though how he was hired was flawed. He is the right leader for the university.
Yeah, I guess that I was implying him by talking about university leadership. That's who I'm referencing is the very top.
The job that Glenn Boyce has done in 4.5, 5 years, whatever the timeline is, and frankly that he has done quietly, is remarkable. Here's what I mean by that. Is Glenn Boyce perfect? No. No leader's perfect. You're not gonna bat 1,000 as a leader. I guess I'm just mostly speaking to as it pertains to athletics, although there's a lot of really good stuff that's happening on the campus in Oxford. The $60 million or $80 million, or however much it is, STEM building that has seemingly been under construction forever, that's going to be Glenn Boyce's legacy. That will be the legacy that he leaves at Ole Miss. That building that is focused on technology and engineering. It is a incredible building. Wouldn't have been possible without the generosity of the Duff brothers, who made the lead gift on that facility. But it took a whole lot more than that. So there's a lot of good stuff that's happening on the academic side. Enrollment numbers are skyrocketing when enrollment numbers nationally are plummeting. Ole Miss just welcomed its largest freshman class ever on the heels of its largest freshman class ever. And people who are in admissions and around the university are quietly talking about next year's freshman class, which will be the biggest ever at Ole Miss by a pretty significant amount.